Okay, so I'm doing a podcast with two of my friends, Emilio, which we can't hear, and Ian. Now, we're going to be talking about telecommunication, which is how some of us met.
She means Emilio.
So, how did we meet? Minecraft.
That sounds so sad.
That's so awkward.
But, you'd say we have real relationships, right?
I mean, kinda.
Even though we've
ouch.
never met in person. How did we meet on Minecraft?
Well, I joined Derek's town when I first joined the server. And we became really good friends. So later on, he introduced me to you guys. So here we are.
But since child predators are a large problem on the internet, how were you guys able to tell by our language before we exchanged discords? How were you able to tell that we were not child predators?
Maybe we are.
Instead of the enemy, you have to become the enemy.
What?
Emilio, no.
Emilio, stop. So, Ian, what about the way Vatu talked to us via text allowed you to know for sure that he was who he said he was?
Well, usually old people are pretty boring. Like, they don't talk the way that we talk, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a really good question. Do you know this week's memes? If they don't, they are child predators.
That is true. So are you saying that there are terms that younger people use, especially on the internet, that older people don't understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Period.
would you like to give me a few examples of these?
Garden week?
The way that people talk, as compared to older and younger generations, is really different, and you can really see how that's portrayed via the internet because of text slang.
Ooh, text lingo, like, LOL.
LMAO. So what would you say is different about communication via the internet than communication in real life?
I feel like in our generation, well, kind of, and we shorten how we talk a lot over, like, digital communication, so we don't speak proper English.
Yeah.
That's
at
true.
all. But sometimes, you know, we bring the way we talk digitally into the real world.
Ian, would you say that there's anything that is lost through shortening our sentences online?
I guess you could do, well, tone definitely, because, you know, it's online. Sometimes, unless you're talking, like, one-on-one, like we are, one-on-one, because Emilio's here. So unless you're, like, talking, you don't really have, like, all the tone and, like, intent behind what someone's saying.
Yeah,
So something can be taken out of context.
I think that applies largely with our use of sarcasm, because if we're talking via text and someone else reads it, it may look like we're being really mean to each other, when in reality, it's really just sarcasm.
Yeah.
We
Like-
use that in real life, though.
Yeah,
We're just mean.
we use a lot of mean humor, but the inflection of the way that we say it makes it really obvious that it's just a joke. Like, Mr. Emilio's child predation joke could not have been taken very well if it were textual rather than verbal. So, Vatu, what were you going to say is lost when we communicate via the internet?
Facial expressions.
Yeah!
Like, have you seen the Lion King live animated
Oh my
movie?
god. I hated it.
Because
I
the
love that.
animals there don't express anything in their faces compared to the animated one. So when we're doing like a call, someone may be crying, but it's silent. So no one ever notices it.
Are you talking from personal experience? Are you okay?
I was crying a few hours ago
I can just
because
picture Emilio, like, crying while we're all cackling.
no,
He's-
wait.
he's-
Derek, no, hold on. Derek fucking finished my building, and it's fucking amazing. And I'm so
Oh.
proud of him. I don't know what to say. I started crying.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh,
I don't think you're allowed to use that, are you?
that's so wholesome.
Can you curse, though?
I can censor it. But also, cursing is a large part of language.
Yes, we curse.
Yeah, I feel
Curse
like
you,
younger
Harry
people
Flip.
curse more often, and it may be because younger people tend to be less religious, and a lot of cursing is frowned upon in religions, and there's a large extent to which young people kind of want to get away from that because of how controlling it is over them. But we tend to curse more.
At the end of the day, they're just work.
In reality,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah, sometimes curse words can add humor to a situation, and for the large part, they add emphasis. Like whenever Cosmic Creeper 19 decides to kill Derek repeatedly, and Derek says, "This is why I don't play with you," and he calls him expletives. That is an example of emphasis being added with curse words.
X.
What was that?
That was a firecracker.
Vatu
This is
just
what
slapped.
happens when-
Vatu just slapped the child he's holding hostage. He got them at the park the other day. He brought them home, and they're just listening in on our conversation. Like, please.
It's gonna sound weird and awkward, but I just dropped a screwdriver.
What are you
Why
doing
you
with the
a
screwdriver?
Screwdriver. Yeah, it's not related.
I was screwdriving.
Not related to the conversation or the child. The blender.
That was a drill.
That's not the blender, that's my laugh.
That was your laugh. It sounded so bass boosted. You see, this is an example of how over cult, there's a lot of things that you don't have explanations for, and you just kind of have to take people's word for it. Like, Vatu could have just slapped a child that he's holding hostage. Or he could have dropped a screwdriver, and we'll never really know. But due to the way that we're treating the situation, you can tell that he's laughing and having a good time. Like, you can tell that he's not holding a child captive.
So whatever he's doing, he's clearly enjoying.
He could just be really charismatic about it. So, when we can't see each other, we are not able to see body language. But the thing about language is that it's supposed to be intentional. So would you say that body language is really language if it's unintentional?
Well, you're still communicating, but you know.
So
In a
is
different
language communication? Or are they different?
Well, communication is part of language, but also language could be like cultural or like, you know.
Yeah, and I think that that really relates to the way we're talking about with the culture of the internet. Like, the way we behave on the internet is different than real life. Because, you know, there's a lot of things that we say on the internet that we can't say in real life. Like expletives. Because it's less intense. You're not judged as much.
Yeah.
And I feel like we, well, as far as the forming of relationships online, I feel like we censor ourselves less because we don't feel as nervous about talking with someone over the internet. Because we feel like if we make a mistake, they're not gonna, I don't know, it's just less nerve-wracking for some reason.
Well, if they don't like you, you can just never talk to them again.
You can just block
Really
and
bad.
report.
Bye.
You block and report because they don't like you. That's all. Report, they don't like me.
They don't like me. Please delete their account.
Delete their account. They're not my friends. This platform should only consist of people I like, and the people I like only. Language is a part of a culture. So, would you say that there is a certain culture to the internet?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Do you think that there's a culture on the internet that's different from the culture of our actual lives?
Yeah. It's like a code.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the internet culture, so everybody around the world is contributing. So it's not just a local thing, because everybody is a part of. I'd assume that being exposed to new things and meeting all these new, you learn to appreciate others.
So, here's a question. Why do you think we're more
I reject your
comfortable with
question.
people that we talk to textually? Is it just what we already talked about? Or do you think there's
Because
more
we
to
can't
it?
physically see them. We can't physically see them, so we can't see them judging.
So you think that it lessens a fear of rejection?
Kinda, yeah.
So this leads me to ask about online dating or dating from a distance. What would you say
I
about
don't know.
that? Do you think telecommunication is enough to hold a relationship together that is spread over a
Man,
distance?
Not a healthy relationship,
Oh
but
yeah, that's how.
Okay.
it can be
Well,
a good
maybe not a toxic
springboard
one,
to a
like that's
relationship.
not
This is a
serious, but
controversial
yeah,
one.
not be like,
Yeah. It's a great way to meet new people and like find things you have in common with. But
is to really
like
go out and find
yeah,
real people.
because a large part of love is like um being personal and having human contact. You know?
And having a
Yeah.
deeper
Like
connection that
hugging.
what can be
Hugging.
conveyed.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hugging
for
is.
example, do you guys hear my fart? No, you didn't, because we're in a call.
Thank you for sharing, Emilio.
If you were next to me, you would have said, "Well," and that would have been
Yeah. This also ties into like the fact that if we don't filter it with you can mute yourself on a call or just
Hmm.
not post it or something.
That is very true. There are things that happen in real life that we can't avoid having happen over the internet, such as
Like
Vatu's
death.
example of farting.
Farting. Do it again.
Vatu, fart. Now.
We're waiting.
Stop, you're making him nervous.
No, shut up.
This is called peer pressure. Come on.
Yeah, and I feel like when communicating with, when it comes to telecommunication, is far easier to avoid negative things, so that can also strengthen relationships. Because if you have an altercation with someone in real life, you're going to have to see that person. But if you have an altercation with someone on the internet, it seems that you have more of an opportunity to calm yourself down, and it feels like that relationship is less important to you, so you don't have to be as worried about it. Would you say that that is true?
Yeah. I don't know about having like digital relationships being because I do care about my friends even if they aren't physically in front of me. I'm not as worried that my online friends are gonna hate me.
Aw, I just saw that Emilio sent us a picture of a screwdriver on the floor to prove himself. So I'm glad to know that Emilio is a truthful fellow.
Oh, he. That's so sweet.
So, would you say that it's negative to use telecommunication as a main form, uh, as a main form of getting to know someone, or would you say that it's positive? Because I know that there's a lot of problems, especially with the older generations, who think that telecommunication is really dangerous.
Well, maybe not to know each other, but to keep the relationship, it might be hard.
Yeah,
So,
because if you're not always online, it's easy to drift apart because you're just usually when you know someone in person, there's like an event that's bringing you together, like work, something like that.
mhm.
But online, there's really nothing that keeps you tethered to one specific location or certain place to get together.
But I think that is also one of the amazing things about the internet. That you can make connections with people that are really far away. For example, Emilio is down in Mexico, and we were able to just talk to him because of the
He's
Wow.
internet.
down under.
All right, did you say down in?
Yeah,
Up in Mexico. He's up in Mexico.
geographically, it's geography. It's down. It's south.
Chloe, we don't need your Eurocentric opinion right now.
All right, all right. Keep going.
Thank you, Vatu, for maintaining control. Okay, I think this podcast is over. Would you like to? Are there any parting words? Would you like to plug your socials?
No.
The actual true way of getting a girlfriend or a friend is to hop on Minecraft, enter Hypixel, say who. I don't know, really. Ask who lives in your country and say, do you wanna be my girlfriend or boyfriend? And then you guys meet each other and turns out you are meant to each other.
And they're definitely not a
Don't meet
predator.
your significant other on. You didn't meet them. Sorry.
If your significant other doesn't have a Minecraft account, they don't exist.
They are real. Sorry. I don't make the rules.
Sorry to break it to you, bud, but
But
okay, thank you
Oh
for
my God,
participating.
no.